welcome back to this class. So, in the previous 3 videos I have discussed about the concentration of the solution, their different units, how they can be measured. So, now we will start a new topic of this chapter, of this solution chapter, that is the solubility. Means what is solubility and what are the factors affecting the solubility, and then related to solubility we will discuss about Henry's law, its application, and we will discuss its numerical. So, let us start today's video from the solubility. So, what do you mean by solubility? Solubility means the concentration of solute present in a given solution, that is the solubility of a solute, means how much amount of solute is present in a particular solvent or particular solution is known as solubility. So, first of all we will discuss that what are the factors, means solubility depends upon which factors, what are the factors which decides the solubility of a solute in a particular solution. So, let us start from this part, that is the solubility. So, first thing is that number one factor is that it depends upon the nature of solute and solvent, depends upon the nature of solute and solvent. So, we can say that the solubility of a solute is depending upon the nature of the solute and solvent. So, how they are depend upon the nature of solute and solvent. So, see, solute like dissolves in like dissolves in like. What it means, like dissolves in like, means polar solute dissolves in polar solvent. Clear? The polar solute dissolves in polar solvent, means when we are taking a polar solute, for example NaCl, that common salt which we are using to cook food, that salt is a polar solute, dissolves in polar solvent, and the example of polar solvent is water. The example of polar solvent is water. One of the example of polar solvent is water. So, polar solute only dissolves in polar solvent. Similarly, unpolar solute or non-polar solute dissolves in non-polar solvent. So, we can say that polar solute dissolves in polar solvent and non-polar solute dissolves in non-polar solvent. Non-polar solvent example, the petrol, kerosene, these are comes under the non-polar solvent, and non-polar solute also the organic compounds, those are comes under the non-polar solute. So, from this part we understood that the solubility of the solute depends upon the nature of the solute and solvent, means the polar solute dissolves in polar solvent and the non-polar solute dissolves only in non-polar solvent. So, let us see some example. Suppose we are taking NaCl. NaCl will dissolve in water. But when this NaCl is treated with petrol, it do not dissolve in petrol. Dissolve in petrol. So, now come to the next criteria, that is the temperature. Okay. So, temperature is related to two phenomena, one is the exothermic and second is the endothermic. So, whenever the delta H is negative, means the change in enthalpy is negative, this is known as exothermic process, and when the change in enthalpy is positive, it is known as endothermic. So, there are two cases are there. Whenever the change in enthalpy is negative, it is called as exothermic reaction. Whenever the delta H is positive, it is called as endothermic reaction. So how the temperature is related to this phenomena? If the dissolution process means if when we are dissolving the solute in the particular solvent, if the process is exothermic, then in this case the solubility is inversely proportional to the temperature. Clear? Whenever the dissolution means dissolving of solute in solvent. Dissolving of solute in solvent is known as dissolution. So whenever the dissolution process is exothermic, the solubility is inversely proportional to temperature. Similarly, when the delta H is positive, means the dissolution process, during the dissolution process, if the change in enthalpy is positive, then it is an endothermic process. In this case, the solubility is directly proportional to the temperature. The solubility will be directly proportional. So in case of endothermic process or endothermic dissolution process, the solubility is directly proportional to temperature. But when the dissolution process is exothermic, the solubility is inversely proportional to the temperature. So these two are the important factors, first two important factors that is related to the solubility of the solute. Next, when we will talk that the solution, liquid solution is there. It is quite clear that liquid solution means the solvent is liquid. But the solute may be solid, liquid or gas. So the dissolution process, if it gives the liquid solution, it means the solvent is liquid. The solvent is clearly that is liquid, but the solute will be solid, liquid or gas. The solute may be solid, liquid or gas. So now we will take the gas in liquid. Means dissolution of gas in liquid. So how we can justify this gas in liquid? What are the factors that affecting this dissolution process? First of all, the first thing is that whenever gas dissolves in liquid, whenever the gas is dissolved in liquid, it is, remember, always it is exothermic. Okay, so whenever the gas is dissolved in liquid, always the process is exothermic. Clear? So the process is exothermic means the solubility of gas in liquid is inversely proportional to the temperature. That's why we can say that in hot water the dissolved gases are less as compared to cold water. So from this we can say that the solubility of gas in liquid is inversely proportional to temperature. If we increase the temperature, the solubility of the gas in liquid decreases. If we decrease the temperature, the solubility of the gas in liquid increases. Clear? So this is the first factor, that is the temperature when gas dissolves in liquid. When gas dissolves in liquid, the first factor, that is the temperature. Next, second factor is the pressure. When we are talking about the gas in liquid. Gas in liquid, the second factor is pressure. So suppose we are taking a container. In this container, we will take some water. So this is the water, this is the water, and above the water there are some vapors or gases. Vapors or gases. Now use a piston. So when we are applying pressure, the piston will move, and when the piston will move, what happened? When the piston will move, we will see now the gas and the water will mix together. The gas and water will mix together. When we are increasing the pressure over the piston, the gaseous particles are dissolute or dissolving in the water. The gaseous particles are dissolving in the water. So what we conclude, that solubility of the gas is directly proportional to the pressure. The solubility of the gas in liquid is directly proportional to the pressure. So whenever we are increasing the pressure over the piston, we will see that the gaseous particle will mix with the water. It means with the increase of pressure, the solubility of the gas in the liquid will increases. So we can say that solubility of the gas is directly proportional to the pressure applied over the gases. So this is the second factor, that is pressure. So the dissolution of gas in liquid is inversely proportional to temperature but directly proportional to the pressure. So in this concept, in this regard, the first Henry has given one law, and that law is called as Henry's law. That law is called as Henry's law. So what is Henry's law? Let's discuss. Let's discuss about the Henry's law. Henry's law. So what is Henry's law? What is the statement of Henry's law? So according to Henry's law, the solubility of the gas in liquid is directly proportional to the pressure on the surface of the liquid. Or this is called as the partial pressure. To the partial pressure on the surface of the liquid. So according to Henry's law, the solubility of the gas in liquid is directly proportional to the partial pressure on the surface of the liquid, and this partial pressure is in the form of vapor pressure. This is called as the vapor pressure. So whatever the pressure is present over the surface of the liquid or the surface of the solvent is directly proportional to the solubility of the gas. So greater the vapor pressure, more the soluble, means the gas is more soluble in the liquid. So we can say that the partial pressure exerted by the vapor is directly proportional to the solubility, And one thing is there, the solubility, in the previous 3 videos I have told you, the solubility can be measured in terms of, whenever we will take the solubility of the gas, it can be measured in terms of what? In terms of mole fraction. So the pressure is directly proportional to xi of the solute, means xi b. Solute we are taking B, so it is xi b. Clear? So the partial pressure over the surface of the liquid is directly proportional to the mole fraction of the gas, because the gas is dissolving in the liquid. So B is taken for the solute, and here gas is the solute. So the partial pressure is directly proportional to the mole fraction of the gas, and that is xi B, that is equals to xi B. So according to Henry's law, the partial pressure is directly proportional to the mole fraction of the gas. Now you see this proportionality sign is removed by KH, and this is called as Henry's constant. We will see that how this KH value, means on what factor the KH value will depends. First of all, from this equation what we can say, that this KH value is inversely proportional to what? Inversely proportional to the solubility or the mole fraction. The KH value is inversely proportional to the mole fraction. From this equation we can see, if this KH will be shifting to this side, the KH will be in the denominator. So the KH is inversely proportional to the mole fraction, and in previously I have told you, this mole fraction, the solubility of the gas is inversely proportional to what? Temperature. So that's why this KH is directly proportional to temperature. The KH is directly proportional to temperature. Clear? When the KH value is inversely proportional to the mole fraction, means here the KH value is inversely proportional to the mole fraction from this equation. So we know that the solubility of the gas is inversely proportional to temperature. That's why we can write KH is proportional to temperature. So in this way the KH value depends upon the mole fraction and the temperature. For example, if we will take two gas, ammonia and helium. Which one will be more soluble? We know that ammonia can able to form hydrogen bond with water. Ammonia can form hydrogen bond, intermolecular hydrogen bond with water. That's why the solubility of ammonia NH3 will be more than the solubility of what? Solubility of He. So in this respect what we can say, that the KH value of NH3 is lower than the KH value of He. So what it signifies? It signifies that whose KH value is smaller, whose KH value is low, that is more soluble in that particular solvent. Okay, for a particular solvent, the gas which are having lower KH value, that is more soluble in that particular solvent. Here we can see the solubility of ammonia is more in water than that of helium, because ammonia forming a hydrogen bond with water. That's why the solubility of ammonia is more than the solubility of helium. So from this equation we can say the KH value of ammonia is smaller than the KH value of helium. It means lower the KH value, greater the solubility of the gas. Clear? So this is about the Henry's law. Now we will discuss about the application of Henry's law. What are the application of Henry's law? What are the application of Henry's law? We will go for the application. Of Henry's law. So what are the application of Henry's law? So number one, the aquatic species are more comfortable in cold water than in hot water. This is the first application of Henry's law, that aquatic species are more comfortable in cold water rather than in hot water. Why? Because we know that in cold water, when the temperature is low, the dissolved oxygen is more. That's why the aquatic species are more comfortable in cold water rather than in a hot water, because in hot water the dissolved oxygen is less. So this is the first application. Second application is the scuba divers. You heard about scuba divers? What are scuba divers? Scuba divers, the person who goes deep into the sea. So what happened with the scuba divers? When the scuba divers are in the bottom of the sea, at that time the pressure is low, very high. But when they come above to the surface of the ocean, gradually the pressure is decreases. With the increase of height, the pressure is decreasing. When the height is increasing, means the scuba divers from the bottom, when they are moved towards the sea level, at that time what happened? The pressure will gradually decreases. Due to which, what happened? The nitrogen gas, what happens? They comes out from the blood. The nitrogen gas comes out from the blood. Why? Because when they are moving towards the surface of the sea level, what happened? The pressure is gradually decreasing. When the pressure is decreasing, the solubility of the N2 gas is decreasing, and they comes out from the blood and forms bubbles which block the capillaries, and due to this blocking, a disease causes bend. It leads to bend, and this gives a sickness to the scuba divers. Clear? So whenever the scuba divers are moving towards the sea level, at that time the pressure decreases. When the pressure decreases, the solubility of the N2 gas decreases, which forms bubble and block the capillaries. It block capillaries or the blood vessels, capillaries, and when they block the capillaries, it leads to a situation called as bend. So this is the one more thing, that how the bend can be overcome. The oxygen cylinder are mixed with oxygen, nitrogen and helium, because helium do not allow the nitrogen to form the bubble. And in this way, by mixing with the oxygen cylinder, oxygen, N2 and helium, when they are mixed together in the oxygen cylinder, they help to overcome the bend. Clear? Third application is the at high altitudes. What happened? The pressure, the atmospheric pressure is very low. At high altitudes, atmospheric pressure is very low. So the content of oxygen in the blood, oxygen content in blood is low, is low. Oxygen content in blood is low, and this leads to a state called as anoxia. This leads to a case called as anoxia. This leads to a state called as anoxia. Clear? And which is also called as high altitude sickness. Clear? So mainly the term we are using anoxia due to the lack of oxygen in the blood due to low atmospheric pressure. Clear? So these are some of the application of Henry's law, how the Henry's law is applicable in our day-to-day life. So this is all about the solubility and the Henry's law. So let's discuss one numerical related to Henry's law. Numerical related to Henry's law. So what is the numerical? You can see here clearly. What is the numerical? H2S, a toxic gas, rotten egg smell, is used for qualitative analysis. If the solubility of H2S in water at STP is 0.195 molal, calculate the KH. Clear? So what is the number of moles of H2S? Number of given. Number of mole of H2S. What is the number of mole of H2S? This is equals to 0.195 moles. Why? Why I am writing 0.195 moles? Because molality means what? 0.195 mole in 1 kg of solvent. In 1 kg of solvent or 1000 gram of solvent. That's why from the molality value we can write that the number of moles of H2S is 0.195 mole if we will take 1 kg of water. If we will take 1 kg of water. So now find out the number of moles of water. Number of moles of water. We know that here we have taken, let mass of water. Water what we have taken? 1 kg or 1000 gram. 1000 gram. So 1000 by molar mass of water is 18. So it gives 55.5 moles. 55.5 moles. Clear? Next it is given. Next we have to find out the mole fraction of H2S. Mole fraction of H2S. So what is number of moles of H2S divided by number of mole of H2S plus number of moles of H2O. Number of moles of H2O. So what is the number of moles of H2S? It is 0.195 divided by 0.195 plus 55.5. And here the answer will come 0.0035. 0.0035. This is the mole fraction of H2S. This is the mole fraction of H2S. Clear? Now next. Here what we have to find out? KH. So according to Henry's law, P is equal to KH into mole fraction. Mole fraction of what? H2S. Okay. Pressure equals to KH into mole fraction of H2S. Now, so we can write KH equals to what? Pressure by mole fraction of H2S. In the question it is given at STP. What is STP? Standard temperature and pressure. When the pressure is 1 bar pressure. 1 bar pressure. And what is the mole fraction of H2S? 0.0035. Clear? 0.0035. Clear to all? So if we will solve this, we will get 282 bar pressure. You can check it by calculating this one. We will get 282 bar pressure, 282, and that is the KH, and that is called as KH. That is bar per, what will be the bar? 282 bar. This is the KH value for this question. Clear to all? So in this way, in this video, we have discussed about the solubility, what are the factors affecting the solubility of gas in liquid, Henry's law, application of Henry's law, and one numerical related to Henry's law. This all about today's video. Thank you and have a